Simple doesn't always mean easy. In golf, for example, the objective is simple. Put the ball in the hole. But is it easy? Ask just about anyone who's ever hit a golf ball, and they'll tell you just how easy it is. How can something so simple sometimes feel downright impossible? What's the solution? When everything's falling apart, I think the best course of action is to go back to your fundamentals. Are you lined up right? Eyes on the ball? Are you getting a good rotation with your shoulders and hips? When all else fails, go back to the basics. I get asked constantly how to get shredded, how to get jacked. The simple answer is lift weights, eat in a calorie deficit, and hit your macros. But if it's that simple, why isn't everybody shredded? There's been no shortage of fitness information, tips, and tricks on how to get your dream physique for decades. And in 2023, with anything you want to know just a Google search away, it's easy to get lost in the deluge of fitness advice out there. Sometimes it's even contradictory. Here's why carbs are ruining your six pack. Here's why you need carbs to get shredded. It's no wonder a lot of people have no clue what to believe when it comes to how to eat healthy and be fit. Why they resort to fad diets and workout equipment. You have to remember to take a step back and make sure you're nailing the fundamentals. I love coming up with new recipes to hit my macros and maintain my physique. Sometimes I don't feel like making a recipe, per se. Sometimes I just want something simple. So I made 3 simple meals with the goal of making them as well as I possibly could. I was watching a Gordon Ramsay video on how to make scrambled eggs a while back. And one of the things he said is that the first thing he does when he hires a new chef is he asks them to make scrambled eggs. One of the simplest things you could possibly make. Why scrambled eggs? Why not something fancy like eggs Benedict or a fancy souffle? Because if you can't make something simple like scrambled eggs and make them perfectly, how can he trust you to make anything more complicated? If you can't make scrambled eggs, there's no place for you in his kitchen. First, I recreated the garlic Parmesan twists from Round Table Pizza, my favorite pizza place growing up, using a simple 4-ingredient, high-protein dough. Flour, collagen protein, baking powder, and plain non-fat Greek yogurt. That's all you need. No baking skills, no time to let rise. Just mix everything together. It's so simple and versatile that I use it as the foundation for countless different baked recipes, not just this one. Next, cut your dough into 4 pieces and roll them thin. The thinner you roll, the easier it'll be when you twist them together. Next, you make your garlic butter by melting light butter and combining with some minced garlic and parsley, and then brush over your twists. Sprinkle over some shredded Parmesan cheese, and they're ready to bake until golden brown. Personally, I like to dip them in some fat-free ranch, because as we all know, ranch makes everything better. Next is perfectly grilled chicken and vegetables with steamy white rice. Incidentally, this is the diet I started with when I first took my nutrition seriously, eating small meals of chicken and rice and vegetables 5 to 6 times a day. Something I didn't learn until much later is there's actually more to marinating meat than just putting it in a container. I'd make this in mass, so I'd put it all in a giant bag and let it marinate in the refrigerator all week, thinking the longer it marinated, the more flavor it'd have. Well, that's somewhat true. If you marinate it for too long, the acids in the marinade will start to break down the meat. So, a couple hours max is all you need. Personally, I think there's no better way to cook meat than on the grill, but if that's not an option, any cooktop with a good sized skillet over medium-high heat will work just fine. There's a very specific reason why I use thin sliced chicken breasts to make, and that's because I always prefer using thinly sliced meat whenever I can. It's much easier to cook evenly all the way through, especially if you're a beginner. Not that you can't use a thicker cut, it just takes more practice to get it perfect, and that's what we're going for. You can add any condiments you want, but it's worth noting there's a reason there's a stereotype about bodybuilders loving hot sauce. It's typically low calorie, packs a ton of flavor, and if you're someone like me that has a high tolerance for spicy food, it's a godsend. Another tip is that if you're going to reheat this later, don't just throw it in the microwave like everybody else. You'll get a lot better result by putting it on the cooktop or grill on low for a couple of minutes. Just long enough to heat it up, but not long enough to overcook it. Like the old adage goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I wanted to make a perfect protein pancake. The kind of pancake you see in a commercial or on the box, but the kind you can never seem to get yours to look like. If you're really a purist, you can just add water to your mix. But I added some skim milk, an egg, and a little olive oil to give it more of a silky, creamy texture. And as for the cooking time, low medium heat, 3 to 4 minutes. Once you see the bubbles starting to burst on top, that's a safe bet that it's ready to flip. Fancy complex recipes, recreating your favorite fast foods can be fun, but it can be overwhelming. If you're ever in doubt, just go back to basics. Master the fundamentals, and you'll be set for life. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time.